Hello, hello! Welcome back to Disco Elysium. This is John, resident homeless detective and disgraced NPR host. Thanks for tuning in. In tonight's episode, we see a little more forward motion, get a few other leads, and learn a few more, shall we say, revealing details about our protagonist. I didn't do much between episodes this time, just looked around and chatted a bit. Two elderly gentlemen talked about the revolution and how Revachol was conquered by an outside power. I did, however, find the pawn shop, and we'll visit that a little later. But first, let's inspect the back of the yard behind the murder scene. Well, hot damn, a witness would be a step in the right direction. Hi, we're the cops. Want to be a snitch? I'm sure nobody's watching.
Not looking for any trouble, officer. I don't want to be seen talking to the gendarmerie, if that's okay. I just want to finish my cigarette. Is it really that important? Alright, but make it quick. Once I finish this cigarette, I have to run.
The division of skills is sometimes curious. An obvious bullshit name falls under rhetoric instead of suggestion or drama. In any case, if you hover over the skill, you can see the number your roll needs to beat. Obviously, ours did not. Yeah, we're working on that, with the same people that are threatening you to stay quiet. But we're totally here to help, honest. Someone else has been intimidating witnesses. That's no good, that's our job. Fucking scabs. Yeah, this guy for sure knows something. Let's dig a little. Hey, that point and suggestion pays off. He seems like he's not helping, but he might be a bit more talkative in private. Kim saw the same sign, which does make me wonder how necessary the suggestion check was. My guess is you need to pass the first check to get the sign, and Kim will interpret it for you if you fail the second one. Nice. Just making sure there's nothing else in the courtyard. Alright, we're out of the rain. Let's have a look around. Bathroom booze. Always drink alcohol you find lying around, kids. Like Deus Ex. Beer bottle in the trash? That's probably fine. Go to town on it. Conspicuous. Yeah, we could crack the chain, but we don't really have a reason to. You'll see later Kim eventually goes to sleep, so it is possible to do things when he's not around. Yeah, see, Kim is there to basically stop you from being a video game protagonist, doing absolutely everything until you find the widget that lets you proceed. It reminds me... Ooh, fuck yeah, 7 real. Score. It reminds me of this other game. I'll get to it in a sec. We'll talk to this lady first.
Give me a moment. The cold never does any good for my bronchitis. I'm fine. Don't you worry about me. Now, what you want from me, policeman?
Cleaning lady thinks there's something going on in room 10. We're right here, there's no harm in looking. Esprit de corps drawing a very hard line between studying the stars and asking what's your sign. Anyway, some weirdo's up to some science behind the padlocked door, though why it would be chained shut from the outside is peculiar. Maybe the guy's just out, or it's abandoned or something. Yeah, here's us still falling for the bullshit name given by the witness, so you can see there's some delayed consequences for missing certain checks. It was obvious, Kim. It was obvious. Though in this case, it's a fairly minor consequence. She knows the guy by description and can tell us which apartment he's in. Thank you, cleaning lady. Carry on. Lots of subtle little linguistic differences here. Graffito instead of graffiti. A lot of French surnames and various European dialects, but they've come up with their own slang terms, foreign words. Obviously, Revachol isn't a one-to-one parallel with any specific place or time, even though there's very clear similarities to Hong Kong under the British. Like I said, it's a mashup. Some parts of this game feel 60s and 70s, some of the tech feels downright futuristic, but large chunks of the city feel like post-World War I era around France, Germany, Austria, Poland. The history of Revachol itself goes back a few hundred years, and all that seems to have been swept away. It's still in living memory, but fading slowly. A city of scars.
Ooh, the piggies have learnt how to saunter up staircases. I didn't think you could do that with hooves, but here you are. Yeah, I can see that. Cool mutations.
I talked to this girl off camera, just a graffiti artist. She seems disappointed if I approve of her work, but I'm not really here to give her a hard time. Notably, one of Hobocop's case files dealt with a large graffiti mural, causing some fuss in the neighborhood. It kind of argued that love here, in this world, was pointless, but maybe it could be found in the next world. And also basically to eat the rich. Kind of a nihilist/populist rage piece. Ironically, the crew that did it were fairly well off, and the mural itself was actually quite popular. Go figure. Why not wear jeans we found in an old furnace? Can't be worse than anything we're already wearing. This is me figuring out I went up the wrong set of stairs. We'll deal with the apartment 10 situation shortly. The day starts winding down at 10 p.m. and I want to try to find this guy. I love even the flavor text in this game. It captures the mood nicely. We're being watched. Everyone's being watched. This is the place. I think they intended for us to find this place earlier. Kim says we should catch him in the evening, and it's past 9:30 now. But yeah, we'll check in on him tomorrow night. This feels like an important break in the case. Reaction speed giving us a little pep talk. So I got a bit sidetracked, but the game I wanted to mention earlier was this indie adventure title, Reactor 9. In it, you play a convict who's a former scientist. An emergency happens and you get stuck with one of the prison guards. The meat of the game is you earning his trust, and that means you can't just blindly do normal adventure game stuff. He carries anything that might be used as a weapon, you can piss him off if you don't explain before doing something dangerous. The ending actually changes depending on how well the two of you get along. It's really well done, look it up, it's made in Adventure Game Studio and it's free to download. Anyway, back inside. Let's check that apartment out. Suggestion knows when a little less subtle method is called for. Let's not jump to conclusions, let's just be straightforward here. Hi there. Don't mind me, just stealing these shoes here. God, this is Dreamweb. Ugh. Maybe she just woke up from an insane drinking binge. Forgot her past life as a game show host. Anyway, as dodgy as she seems, looks like her story's legit. She's just a realtor having a hell of a day. Little high-strung, but let's be real. Cleaning out a shithole apartment in a rundown apartment building, while two more are now connected by a very large hole in the wall. That's one of those moments where you re-examine what went wrong in your life. Yep, forgot to take those drugs. Like booze, you can always trust pills you find on the ground. Anyway, just letting cleaning lady know all is good.
Give me a moment.
Kind of a weird moment to start taking a political stance. I know rent control screens people all the time, but I'm a little lost why Hobocop feels his input on centrism or extremism is warranted here. Don't you judge me, Rhetoric. That was padding the writing and you know it. Yeah, see, empathy gets me. I'm a radical, revolutionary, incrementalist. Really though, it's still the first day of recovering from a brain-destroying bender while on a murder case and at risk of being kicked out into the cold. probably not the best time to stress about having a consistent worldview. But yeah, this game kind of takes the knife to every political mindset, and here's it both extolling the virtues and flaws of slow, gradual change. I had to look up Sang-Freud. Apparently it means composure. I think that's how it's pronounced anyway. I think composure's being a little vain here. And naturally, this approach does mean the status quo gets upheld, broadly speaking, instead of more immediately correcting problems in the present. It's hard to say that this game takes a specific stance as a whole. It's clearly political, but its politics are second to the players, and it's more about defining who you are in light of who our protagonist has been. Post-ideological? See, now you're just being silly. And post-sexual? Oh, hell no. Anyway, someone drew a communist symbol on the wall. Apparently on loan from Satanism. Subtle. Day's getting a bit long on the tooth. Might as well check out the pawn shop and look into our missing gun before we call it a night. Mind you, we still haven't sorted out how to pay for the room, but we'll jump from that bridge when we get to it. Passage of time is interesting in this game. It doesn't appear to be a constant rate. Some things cause it to tick by faster, like talking to people or examining objects. One of the loading screen tooltips says that reading a book causes it to go by quicker. Here's our pawn shop. Alright, let's be cool, and try not to act like we sold our gun in a psychotic, possibly suicidal fit.
It's not often that I say, "What can I do for you?"
Our shopkeep obviously just a little bit high.
Oh no, not at all. I guess I haven't had many customers lately, RCM or otherwise.
Who are your customers usually?
All kinds of people come through here. Locals, travellers, people looking for a deal, people looking for a keepsake, people who are terminally bored. As you can see, I have a wide selection of goods for everyone to choose from. It keeps me entertained.
I think this is the kind of guy that would own a hookah and swear up and down that he thinks better when he's using it. I knew a guy like that once. Kept swearing he was going on some, spiritual quest to Morocco or something. Never did find out if he made it. Really, I don't think you're gonna find too many straight-laced dudes with an MBA trying to run a pawn shop. So, we sold our gun, which is pretty bad, not gonna lie. Little bit of an oops, just a tad. I feel like I'm trying to just test the limits of Kim's patience here. Yeah, seems like as part of his meltdown, Hobocop was afraid to keep the weapon on him. He hit his low point, realized what a disaster of a person he'd become, and got rid of his gun in a fit of blind despair. Which Granted, you can see the warped, panicky logic at work, but it does mean that some lady out there has a cop's gun and can do God only knows what with it. Situation less than groovy. Kim's demonstrating a heroic level of composure here. That is the face of a man screaming internally. Clicked on the wrong option here, though it does point out that this woman was a bit creepy in her own right, so she's almost guaranteed to be up to no good with it. Right, not much we can do at the moment. Though I can sell some knickknacks to him that I no longer need. Not spare clothes, unfortunately, and he seems particularly bothered by the necktie. Oh, don't worry, necktie, we're not going to trade you just yet. We're pals. Granted, you seem to be a horrible influence, but we're pals nonetheless. You're the devil on my shoulder. We need you as a contrast.
We should think about calling it a day, maybe. The nights are still miserably cold this time of year.
Kim's ready to call it a day, and unfortunately, I still don't have money to pay for a room. The best we can do is talk to Garte and see if we can work something out. Just going through my inventory, seeing what else I can interact with and sell. Postcard seems to be just vendor trash. Well, let's head back to the whirling. I did ask about this, and apparently it is possible to round up the money you need in one day. It's also possible to get the fee reduced. Apparently if you try to run when he first brings up the bill, you have an accident and he can knock like 30 bucks off. Ooh, psychedelic.
Hello again, sweetie.
I talked to Lena a bit. And you might be able to get a few bucks from her if you pass this. I didn't actually try. But honestly, it doesn't feel right. This woman is a saint. Besides, it probably wouldn't be enough. Well, let's face the music.
Can I help you?
None of this seems terribly convincing. We'll let Kim speak here. The key doesn't help much. The rooms are electronically locked. Well, no luck there. Kim seems to have something in mind, but he's definitely not happy about it. Just taking a look at my thought cabinet. Self-critique is almost done, but we're out of room for other thoughts. Jamais vu, I'm assuming that's how it's pronounced. It seems important, might slot in for encyclopedia in some cases, but we need to unlock more spaces before we can eternalize it. Ah well. Alright, let's check Kim's car. Actually, let's check the kitchen first, then head outside. Might as well use the money we found in the whirling to help pay for it. Kim, apparently, confiscated some sick rims. And though he writes it off as just for vanity, it's clear our man dreams of riding spinners himself. A little bit of a gray area, since he got them after pulling over some stoner kid of some government official. Turns out they weren't needed for evidence, and the guy never asked for them back. Still, they're pretty rad. Come on, man, don't be coy. I know you want to roll out all shiny and chrome. Come on, man. Yeah, there's that smile. Now, I'm feeling really guilty about this. A lot of that going around, I know, but Kim's putting up with a lot to keep our man Hobocop in the game. I initially declined, but we really do have no choice here. I won't forget this, buddy. Mark my words, if this game lets us get them back at some point, I will sell body parts to do so. Watch, that'll come back to haunt me. We'll find like a black market organ dealer and I'll be all, well, I know little Timmy needs a new heart, but I really wanted to get those rims back.
Greetings on this fine night. What brings you here? The pawn shop is always open.
Well, there we go. Might as well sell the postcard while we're here. Thanks, Kim. Pleasure doing business with you, Roy. Alright, let's mosey.
Can I help you?
Here you go, pal. Sorry about the mess. And it seems like it's no hard feelings. Guy's just trying to make sure we don't stiff him. Mind you, we're still going to need money to pay for every night we're here, but we should be able to scrounge a few more bucks for tomorrow at least. It's clear we're going to need to make some actual money if we're going to be staying here for a while. Hopefully making progress on the case will unlock a few more options for us. Just spending a skill point here. Rhetoric's been coming up a lot, but I'm also seeing composure and logic a fair bit. We'll eventually want some physical skills as well, but I settle on being able to argue a bit better for the moment. Back to the money problem. I suspect if we moved a bit quicker and got into the Union vs. Company stuff more, either by agreeing to Joyce's side quest or meeting with the Clare brothers, I suspect that would have given us more options to proceed. I do hope we can buy back those rims. Kim's a good guy, he deserves nice things. Well, time to crash.
Yes? Just a moment. We should talk about our progress on the investigation. Let's go out to the balcony.
Hup, strike that. Time for a debrief first.
Now then, we should talk about the investigation, but I also feel you're a bit hazy on the RCM. Our role here, our rights, our jurisdiction, basically.
Kim's helping to clear up a few things, telling us the militia doesn't have much real power. Mostly we send out fines, and when we arrest someone, we usually just send out a notice for someone to show up voluntarily. Most of the time they do, of course, and we're allowed to put more pressure on those who don't. They give us the guns for a reason, but strictly monitor their use. Anybody we arrest goes to court under the coalition government, who actually run the city. The RCM is just something the coalition set up after they took control. It'd be nice to believe the cops were formed by the citizens of Revachol, but Kim is under no illusions about who has power. What we have flows from something called the moral intern. He explains the Moralist International as a kind of umbrella agency, a collection of political parties bound by a currency union, and they're the ones that set up the coalition government that runs Revachol. It's not quite one world order, but clearly Revachol and the RCM are just tiny facets of something much bigger. There's some mention of the group having humanist origins, essentially a secular school of political thought with a lot of possible interpretations. They put on a nice-sounding front, but might just be a bunch of far-off bureaucrats with a poor understanding of human nature. What does he think about them? It's complicated, but there might be a degree of necessity. A lot of options here, and I don't think there's a clear-cut right or wrong answer. I mean, the fourth one is obviously just reactionary racism, but from what we've seen so far, there's an argument to be made for at least the first three. I had to stop and think about this for a while. Eventually I decide not to solidify an opinion just yet, which Kim seems to approve of. It's my first day after the memory loss. I need to see more of the city before I make that kind of judgment. Kim is a cool motherfucker. I think electrochemistry has a crush on him. Volition and composure tell us he could quit, but chooses not to. He gets something out of it. I like the little hints that he's not as stoic as he appears. Here we actually discuss what we accomplished, which isn't much. We do have some good leads to continue with tomorrow. He's trying to keep our spirits up. I decide it's time to stop apologizing so much and time to start righting the ship. A good night of sleep will help us clear our heads and get back on track. On tomorrow's agenda, we need to talk to the Union leader, we need more information from Messier, of course we need to talk to that witness and get results from that armor serial number. Now this is curious. He notices we did a lot of running. Again, this is a case where the only honest answer is the clock's ticking and I'm trying to get stuff done before we had to settle the bill. And now Kim's complimenting our shoes. Yeah, the evidence is really piling up here. I'm going to be shipping these two before the game's over. Well, we're already out on the balcony at night together. If this were an anime, this would inspire about 10,000 fanfics and a whole bunch of stuff on DeviantArt. Anyway, Martinez is definitely gone to hell, and it's kind of the RCM's fault for it. We left a vacuum, and the Union stepped in. If nothing else, he's got a realistic sense of expectations. All we can do right now is solve the mystery and hope some good comes of it. Alright, let's crash. Now, the text does note that drugs raise certain skill caps, and I'm wondering just how many points we get to play with. I'm trying to play to certain strengths, but if we've got room to spread it out a bit, that does give us some leeway in development. Good night, Kim. If we wanted to, we could go back out and get into some mischief without Kim cramping our style, but this is the first night, so some solid R&R is probably the best option. And right now, Kim is helping our style. Let's not keep secrets from him unless we have to. Our room is still a shithole, but at least we're not literally sleeping in the dumpster. No new options in the mirror. Time to call it a night. I've had those nights. Sometimes you just can't shut your mind off. Hello, hello, what's all this then? Oh boy. We're tripping balls, aren't we? Yep, we're seeing some shit. Brace yourself, kids.
Do you remember the scent of your childhood? Do you remember your wife's hand on your face? Do you remember the warmth of her thighs between her legs and in her mouth? You know who I am. I'm the bad day. The one where you ask her, and then later in the streets wandering. It's the worst day of all time, Harry dear. And it's coming. She will hear about it on the phone. Reality will turn into a grotesque nightmare. This'll be the last thing you did to her. Tell me, do you remember the love of your life? That's right, funky baby. And you just stood there. One hand on the bottle and the other on your dick. Watching her go. Let it all be dragged away from you. Tell me, where are your friends? Human beings have friends, Harry boy. Where the hell are yours? No, it's gone. 3 times gone and never coming back. You failed. You failed me. You failed Elysium. No, Harry. You were just talking to yourself. That's all you ever do, even in your dreams. And the act is wearing thin. The spots on the disco ball fade around you. You'll be back in those cold snakeskins in no time. Sweating up the bed.
Stinky boy.
Everything. The pail and the isolas on the surface. The outer magnetosphere. Burning, furious truth. 8,000 years of written history. You really dropped the ball, Harry. 4.6 billion people, and you failed every single one of them. You really fucked up. You're not coming back from shit. Thrashing around in that high conductivity state of yours, bumping into things and acting like a clown. Who are you kidding? You're trying to what? I can't hear you. This is just a word dream now. Jumbled up garbage. The pictures are gone. The bed rises to meet you. A thin, sleep-like state.
Something is wrong. Sleep shouldn't be this bad. This dry, this unnourishing. There's something wrong with your thoughts. Some kind of new type of hangover. Oh yes, party boy. And it's worse than the one before. Just think of the shit you saw. Here it comes too. So soon already. A silent alarm goes off in your head like clockwork. Barely let you sleep at all. Time to get those clothes on, Harry. Time to go to work in the shit factory.
Well, that was a fucking ride. At least we got a name out of it, along with the tidbit that his downward spiral might have started over a divorce. He called himself The Bad Day, singular. I wonder if the details would have changed if I said I left. He seems to view his fall as somehow failing the entire human race. Probably an abstract recognition that he tanked his career as a cop. Though, for all I know, it could be taken at face value. Hard to say. But right now, we have more immediate problems. We've got to get back into the investigation. And that's gonna be a challenge, cause Hobocop was a speed boy. Oh, goody goody gumdrops. Our ability to function at all yesterday was because, in part, we pumped ourselves full of amphetamines along with whatever we were drinking, and the drugs were still going after the alcohol wore off. Volition trying to keep us on the straight and narrow, but it's debatable whether our speed habit coincided with our career as a super cop. Our inner druggie seems to think something big and bad is going to happen if we don't crack this case, and we won't be able to do so without a little help from vitamin S. But no, we gotta hold on. Our man drove himself into a ditch, several times from the sound of it. There's no way back out but the hard way. Kim must be downstairs. Oh, looks like the Union boys are here. There he is. Morning, partner.
Morning.
So it looks like those guys aren't just a bunch of dock workers, but kind of an informal police unit for the Union. A rowdy bunch and not to be approached lightly. Calling for backup isn't an option. We're not wanted here, and both departments can more easily write us off than they can put pressure on a goon squad. Still, the Union are the main suspects behind the murder. We'll need to face them eventually. But not necessarily right now. If we leave them be for now, it might suggest that we have more important things to do. They'll be here for a while in any case, but we'll deal with that another time.
Can I help you?
Before we wrap up, Lena seems to have more to say. Something's bugging her.
Just a moment. And there's no public phones nearby?
The closest phone booth is down the coast. Sorry for the inconvenience, Mom.
It's fine. I understand. Thank you anyway. I'm glad to see you again, dear. Please don't trouble yourself about me, sweetie. I was just hoping to make a call, but the Whirling's phone line isn't working. The Union office probably has a phone, but I can't really get there. Or to the phone booth down the coast. And Gary's phone is dead too. The manager was vague about it. To let the young woman who is house-sitting for us know that we may be delayed. Morel, my husband, and Gary were supposed to be back on Monday night, but they're still missing and I haven't heard from them. I was also hoping she'd heard from Morel. That's just it. This isn't like him at all. He always plans his expeditions so carefully, but you have more important things to worry about.
So yeah, she's trying to call a house sitter, but the line of the Whirling is down. The bigger issue is her husband Morel hasn't checked in recently. He's on some kind of expedition involving a rare, possibly extinct species of insect, and it's unusual for him to be out of touch for this long. They weren't going far and should have been back yesterday. It's not technically our responsibility, we don't have evidence a crime has been committed, but I basically tell Kim it's a side quest and that's that. Look man, we need experience. There's no harm in keeping our eyes open at least. You never know. Just getting a description quick. Sounds like they got together after she had her accident, and he after a divorce. Quite the pair. Might be more to know about what he was looking for, but let's not test Kim's patience any further.
Can I help you?
Thought Garte might have had something to say about the phone, but apparently not. Anyway, that about wraps it up. We'll get to dealing with the Union boys next time, and possibly check in with our witness if time goes quick enough. Until then, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next time.